give Honorable Skosana and Honorable Mahlala. So here's how we'll do it. So Denzel is going to start timing. You get an opportunity to have an exchange with the LPC. So the 10 minutes is not for the asking. The 10 minutes is for the entire conversation. How many questions you manage to get in has to do with how concise you are with your questions. One, and secondly, may I please ask colleagues, amongst yourselves, you need to pick. Otherwise, the members are also going to get frustrated when the answers come from many different people. Is that okay? Can we proceed on that basis? Thanks, Honorable Maduna. Honorable Skosana, your 10 minutes begins now.
Thank you, Chair. I'm sorry that I came a little bit late here. But be that as it may, we are again back to the road accident fund issues. Which reminds me of some time ago, if you remember, Chair, there was Ian Stokes who left with millions of rands. Investors put money into his account. He was paying claimants in advance and, a percentage. You make a claim at REF, he pays you because he knows that you sign, that you will be paid in a year or two from REF. Then we'll pay you the remainder, around 16%, if I remember well. Now, is it Ian? Is it Ian, if I remember well? I'm sorry? Ignatius, yeah. I've listened very attentively. It's unfortunate that the LPC as well dominates by the JCB. LPC has just become
sorry by that, J?
GCB.
Yeah? GCB.
Yes.
What is that?
They'll answer. They'll know what I'm talking about.
No, remember.
I will tell you.
Okay.
It's General Council Bar.
Okay. Yes. I always do that when there's an abbreviation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
No.
Because we streaming.
Sorry, Chair. LPC has become another terrain used to settle scores and target legal practitioners, advocates that are outside the fold of GSCB. What happened when this LCB started? Mainly dominated by GCB members, in particular whites. Why did the LPC condemn Pabasa for certain charges against Mpofu? I'm talking about the recent case, when themselves withdrew for the same reasons. Chair, where I'm going, in South Africa, there's a settling of political scores here. Among other things, jealousy as well. I'm going to be frank. Is the LPC not entirely composed of GSCB? That was my question when I mentioned this. Of advocates to the exclusion of advocates from other bars association. Is this not compromising its integrity as a regulatory body? What do you say to the accusation that LPC is colluding with JSC to ensure that association like Pabasa and the National Bar Association are excluded from JSC so that only advocates from the GCB can be involved in the appointment of judges? The LPC seems to be slow to pursue charges against white advocates and quick to pursue charges against black practitioners. What happened to the charges against Helen's SC and Jubed SC convicted of lying to the Namibian authorities? Is it true that LPC has not finalized its procedure regarding the silk recommendation and that it seems to recommend only those from the GCB? Now, let me just ask this as well. The issue of REF, when I look at the presentation which we received, these 101 or 102 firms, why they were not named on this presentation? Why they were not named? And I can tell you, it's for one reason. They are protecting big firms here. The issue of medical claims and the issue of lawyers, as Ignatius was saying to us here, that some of them paid back the money, that 350 million which was erroneously being paid to them. I'm not buying that. If only the numbers which they gave us here, that no, some of them, the double payment was, I mean, it's ethical for you, before even being pursued, to pay back the money, because you can see in your account that there's money which you don't deserve. Those duplicated payments, we know what happened. Some big fish were involved here. Some of them, I'm seeing, I saw that there's 10 of them or so. And the issue of I think one of my colleagues asked about the interest. And the answer is not convincing, unfortunately. You know, that lawyers are business people. Yes, be a business person, but be ethical. Be a business person, but be ethical. And there's a lawyer for that matter. I mean, we've seen judgments in this country which leaves much to be desired. We know for a fact that sometimes judges think that they are, in fact, they are law unto themselves, some of them. I'm going to be frank here.
Honorable Skosana, so I'm not stopping you. I'm just giving you a time warning.
Yes,
because
I'm aware.
you need to get proper answers, right?
Thank you, sir.
And we're going to run out of time, and then it's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Let me finish by saying to the Legal Practice Council that it's unfortunate that the milking cow is road accident fund for even these so-called big firms, you know, like your Wenzel and Weber, you know, we've got almost 500 lawyers or attorneys. And these Bowmans and Bowmans or whatever the name is. But I'm still saying, Chair, that please, in this presentation, they must name these lawyers, these firms. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. So we invited. Thanks.
Sorry, Chair. Sorry, Chair. My last one. Sorry, Chair. What is the use of chasing lawyers who are not practicing in law, who are not practicing in any bar, and say you want to start them off the roll? Thank you, Chair.
Thanks very much. So I'm going to say we invited the LPC and we'll stop the clock. It's at 8 minutes. So I invited the LPC here for two specific reasons. And I'm not saying they shouldn't answer the question. If they're comfortable to answer it, they can. Because we took two presentations, or in one session in this room with the health minister and the health committee about medical legal claims. The second, we've had numerous encounters with the Road Accident Fund on precisely these matters that we're talking about. We then agreed in that meeting that we will call the LPC to account. In my briefing to the LPC, I asked them to focus on those two matters. I'm saying this because in the early part of your questioning, you focused on issues pertaining to Advocate Mpofu, I'm assuming, and so on. I never asked them to prepare for that. I think it falls outside the brief of what we've said, but if you're comfortable, you're in a position to answer that question, please do. I just don't want to come across as protected. I just want to be clear about how we got here, Honorable Skosana, but I won't direct them on whether they should answer. If you're competent to answer that question, please answer that question. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I think I will I will answer most of the questions by Honorable Skosana. The LPC is definitely not dominated by the GCP chair. And I say this because on my opening remarks to the committee, I did clarify that out of the 23 council members who make up the National Council, only 6 are advocates. So if you do the maths, you then have 17 who cannot be a member of the GCP because they are non-advocates. That's the first point, Chair. The second point is that other bars are excluded. That's not the case, Chair. The election of the provincial of the council members, either for national or provincial, is a democratic election. Every practicing legal practitioner is allowed to vote or to nominate and also to vote for the member they want to be either on the National Council or the Provincial Council. Chairperson, on the issue of the collusion with the JSC, I am not aware of such a collusion, Chair. I am aware that there was a complaint by Papasa that we need to come up with the rules of nominating LPs who need to serve on the JSC, because the status quo has always been some members of the advocates profession to be members of the JSC. We have actively, although maybe it could have been delayed, Chair, put together a process where those members who go and represent the legal profession at the JSC will be a nomination and an election by the members of the legal profession. So the only thing, Chairperson, is that that process has not yet commenced. I understand, Chair, that the matter of LNSC is still under investigation, but I will not speak on that because that is a provincial council matter. But I know that the complaint was received and it is being investigated. The silk recommendations procedure, Chair, the status quo has been going on up until last year, when we submitted the criteria for the nomination of people to become silks. And that now included attorneys becoming senior attorneys. The problem that we had, Chairperson, which we have sent numerous times to the minister, is that on the new panel that is proposed on the criteria, there was a member of the panel was supposed to be a senior attorney. And if you look at the past, we've never had anyone becoming a senior attorney. So we then said to the minister, can you please appoint 2 people to become senior attorneys so that we are able to then implement the process of nomination and recommendations of silks people. But that process, Chairperson, has been delayed at the minister's office and not by the LPC. If that recommendation to the minister had been implemented by the minister, Chair, we will be running with the nominations and recommendations of members that are requesting to become silk as early as this year in 2025. The names of the LPs or law firms, Mr. Skosana, which were on the list, this list we received in 2020. It's a list which we dealt with 4 years ago. We will have to look for that list, and we can definitely provide it to the committee. And lastly, Chair, we don't strike off non-practicing lawyers. And if there is any instance where the Honorable Skosana is aware of, please let me know, because then we'll have to look at the reasons why they were struck off. Non-practicing legal practitioners, Chair, do not pay levies, and they are barely brought to us as people who have conducted any misconduct. Barely. But if there is any non-practicing lawyer who's brought to us, we do investigate. But I don't remember in my 6 years at the LPC, Chair, where we struck off a non-practicing legal practitioner. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Skosana, your 10 minutes is expired.
No, I want to just make a follow-up one, because I don't want to be misquoted, Chair.
You want to make a correction?
Yes. I just wanted to make a correction. No, it's fine. Madala is fine. Yeah. Oh, you can borrow me. Thank you, Mr. Waduna. Now, the issue, Chair, which I've raised here, as I said, like he's answering the issue of Helen's and Jubed. To say the matter is being investigated is not enough for me. I'm honest on that, because I've been hearing this thing, as I was saying, in other committees, that some matters are being investigated from 2011. There's no time frame, there's nothing. And in fact, as I said, I'm sorry I came a little bit late. I don't even see the chairperson of the Legal Practice Council. Maybe they've explained why. And the deputy is not here as well. Mr. Selega is not here. I'm not sure whether the deputy is here. I'm just saying, those are the issues that we have to be taken serious, Chair, as well. Because I guess that in all the people who are being called to come here, they come here with their chairpersons. You know, for me, or a deputy, for me, I'm not sure why perhaps they've explained earlier. Thank you.
Okay, Honorable Skosana, thank you. So I had actually a meeting with Advocate Selega. If he had been here today, so he's acting as a judge. So if he had come here today, that matter would have had to be postponed for a significant amount of time. And we cannot postpone this hearing until such time that that one person is here. Because we'd already postponed already. They were supposed to be here earlier. So he's acting as he's sitting on a case today as we speak. That's the long and the short. Thanks, Honorable Skosana. Can I go to Honorable Mahlala?
Thank you, Chair. To the LPC, the first question is, or maybe what we've been gathering through the interventions or the meetings we've had on the two referred institutions, is that they would say we have referred this law firm to the LPC. And it would appear that there's a delay in terms of then finalizing complaints that would have been referred. So I want to understand what is the reason for the delays? Well, number two, is there a staffing what is the status of the staffing capacity at the LPC? What are one bodies versus funded vacancies? For example, do you have a full complement of whoever is responsible for processing those issues? Also, what happens in between the time when a person or a firm or an entity has lodged a complaint and the time that it is finalized? So is there a probability that the person could be continuing operating and continuing with the similar misconducts in between that process? In terms of protecting the consumers or the clients, does the LPC have a database or a systematic way in which a person, civilian, can verify registered law firms, people that are proper? You know, if someone, Madala says, I'm registered, I'm a legal practitioner, can a person go and punch into a system to verify so that they don't get abused by any other law firms? What is the status of unresolved complaints as we speak? How many complaints have been lodged? How many are unresolved? And maybe we can also say how many have been resolved, let's say in the past financial year or so. There is also an issue of which contributes to the delay of the time lapse in an event that an owner of a law firm or a practitioner is deceased. My understanding is that then the files are transferred to the LPC to deal with the trust issues, and ultimately the files get reallocated. In that process, do clients who are owners of those files, do they get communication from the LPC to say, please be aware that your matter is on pause because there's a deceased, because your representative is no more, and we're going to conduct this, whatever needs to be done by either the curator or whoever is involved, up until the matter is finalized? And how efficient is that process to ensure that the delay is kept? I think I've taken 4 minutes, Chair. Can I do follow-ups in the remaining 2 minutes? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. We will split the answering, Chair. We won't deal with the same questions. Just on the funded bodies or the number of people, the LPC is assisted by 400 employees. We have discussed in the past year the requirement to get more funding so that we can hire more staff. And currently what we require to subsidize our current staff is we require staff to the tune of about 14 million a year. So until we are able to secure funding from the Fidelity Fund, which will be able to fund these additional bodies, we are still working with reduced capacity, and we are trying to work with what we have at the moment. And I'll just jump to the last question, Chairperson, from Honorable Madlala on the verification of law firms. We have tried even on our social media to alert the members of the public that on our website we have an interactive and live database of both the legal practitioners which are supposed to have Fidelity Fund certificates whom the member of the public can pay their funds into, and also the law firm. So that information is updated on a live basis if you log on into our system. We also, when our LPs appear in court, we ask them to have digital ID cards which show as and when it is shown to maybe the magistrate that the LP is in good standing and is registered with the LPC. But we still find, Mr. Madlala, that there are instances where members of the public are still using people who pose as lawyers and they are not. But we're trying to reach as many members of the public as possible to alert them of the existence of our website, which can give them information regarding all LPs which are in good standing and which are allowed to practice as legal practitioners. I'll allow Mr. Brill to answer the issues on disciplinary cases.
Thank you, Chair. So, yes, I agree there are delays in finalizing complaints. I think the biggest, and we did address it to some extent in the memo, the biggest issue is the capacity. If you consider the number of complaints that we receive annually, so for this year alone, January to basically 16 June, we received 6,700 complaints, right? So annually we receive around about 12,000 to 13,000 complaints. We manage to finalize around about 10 to 11,000 complaints a year. So unfortunately, our backlog in terms of complaints are growing, which is very concerning, obviously, to us. And the EO has addressed the measures that we're looking at to improve that turnaround time. I think the other question related to the curatorship process. So obviously there's curatorship for deceased or suspended or struck practitioners. The deceased practitioners, unless there's a trust deficit, if there's money missing from the trust account, those matters are generally dealt with fairly quickly. We tend to try and not appoint a curator on each deceased matter unless it's absolutely necessary. So depending on the amount of money in the trust account, and depending on whether there is another member in the firm who can take over the management of the firm, we will decide on whether we need to appoint a curator. Once a curator is appointed, in terms of the court orders, the curator and the curators in general are the directors for the provinces. So I cannot make a decision on my own on payment of a claim against the trust account. I need to have permission from the Legal Practitioners Fidelity Fund Board. So all claims that come in need to get approval from them as well. And this is just to safeguard against, abuse. You really don't want Ignatius Brill on his own to make all the decisions on all curator matters. I think it's just a safeguard. And the claims go through a verification process. So the client needs to show us that they are the beneficiary of the money in the trust account. So in short, if the accounting records are up to date and correct, then those matters are finalized fairly quickly.
Thank you. I want to understand, as a follow-up, well, let me repeat the first question. How many are unresolved? How many unresolved matters you're sitting at? In your response, you said about a year you get about 12,000 and you resolve about 11,000. So you're saying your performance in terms of resolving issues is at around 90-something%. So the backlog, where does it come from? I want to also understand that if you resolve it, if your performance level is at 90+%, where does this backlog come from? Is it from legal issues, or where exactly does it come from? But also, what is then your turnaround strategy around that? And maybe lastly, besides dealing with the legal issues and the backlog, what is the time frame within which you have set yourself to resolve matters? Whether you meet that or not, I think that's second. I just want to know if you are saying that when we receive a complaint, from the time it's logged in, we have got 30 days, or within 60 days, or within 90 days, in a normal functional environment. However, currently we maybe are not able to meet that, or whatever is the case. Thank you.
If I may respond, the backlog comes from the number of complaints that we do. So every year it adds on a small bit. Some years is good years. The COVID-19 set us back substantially, and that we just never could get up to date subsequently. You must understand, we don't have all the capacities for conducting virtual meetings with all the committee, the complainants and so forth. We struggle to conduct meetings virtually. So the current amount of open complaints as it stands at this stage is 23,164. I think the oldest one is dating back to 2016 at this stage. So still from the Law Society's days. Time frames, in terms of the Act, we are obliged to provide the attorney 30 days after we send them the letter to reply to the complaint. They don't always comply. We call it a reminder, give them extra 2 weeks. The complainant gets opportunity to respond to the comments. We will then, of course, give the complainant also 30 days. So between all of this, until it's ready really for the agenda, that's if everybody responds, it takes about 3 to 4 months for the whole process to run, the investigation. It's then placed before an investigating committee consisting of a panel of attorneys or advocates, depending on who is the respondent in the matter. And that will depend on the workload of the legal officer. That can be done or should be done within 2 to 3 months. Our longest delay at this stage, unfortunately, is the trials. To get the matter enrolled for trials, trials take, unfortunately, a bit of more time. People play around, attorneys and complainants. Once a matter is set down, somebody is ill, the car broke down, and we have to re-enroll the matters. So unfortunately, there is long delays, specifically with the enrollment of trials. And what we're currently doing, the EO has started a project. We have got funding that we are appointing. We have advertised already. We've started conducting interviews on a project to specifically help with the backlog in trial matters. So all the provinces will be getting between 3 to 1 legal officer to help them. We're going to test it out for 6 months. If it works, then of course we'll continue with it at least for another 6 months. And the whole purpose is really to work down the backlog, specifically in trials.
All right. Sorry.
Thank you, Chair. Just last bit, Honorable Madlala, just to note that the LPC is disciplining lawyers. Everything that you can think of that a lawyer can try to get out of being disciplined gets thrown to us at the LPC. You'll find responses not coming for 4 months in a row, and each time we get a letter from the doctor that the LP was sick or was unable to attend an investigation. I think this could be the most difficult profession to discipline, because we are dealing with people who know how to work around the law to work in their favor. and and you'll find that there are instances, Mr. Madlala, where we have actually struck off a lawyer, and the person has not even responded once to a letter of the sent to him by the LPC. And then when the matter then goes to court, then he starts saying to the LPC, well, I was not part of the investigation and the disciplinary. But why didn't you respond to all the letters when we informed you of the sitting? You were not there. Then the panel then made a decision in your absence. Those are all the problems that we have to face, and then the process of us applying to court for a strike-off is further delayed because the person is now coming in and defending the matter at that stage. So if we were maybe disciplining a normal, person, not a lawyer, it will be quicker, but we try to have our matters finalized within 6 months unless there are issues that are brought to us by the respondents. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Madlala and Honorable Skosana, for this phase, and thank you to the LPC. So we're going to take a 15-minute break and reconvene at 11:15. I know, I'm sorry. It's been a while. Human rights break.